Hey there, welcome to my beginner's course on setting up Riverside step by step. Just a quick heads up, if you watched the very first video where I explained why I use Riverside, this one's gonna feel a bit different. That video was a big picture why, and I wanted it to be flashy so you understand exactly where my headspace was when I did it. But these lessons, they're gonna be more relaxed and natural, like I'm showing a friend how to get started, because I know exactly how you feel right now. Because I was right where you are. When I first began this journey at 46, I had no idea what I was doing. Every video that I had found, they all either felt like clickbait or they were way too technical and I just couldn't keep up. So my goal here is to make these simple and frustration free. And if you're new here, I'm John Adams, host of the Health, Tech, and Wellness podcast. And I started this new channel so I can help people just like me learn the tools and grow your editing skills and create content that you can actually be proud of without all the burnout. So, all right, now that I've got all that out of the way, let's get into lesson number one. When you first open up the Riverside website, right at the very top, you're going to see pricing. We'll click right in. Now, as you can see, you're going to say, I thought you said there was a free tier. There absolutely is. Start here for free. And it's not just the 14 days that you see under each one of these. It is completely free. But it's going to be 720p and it's going to have watermarks and it's not going to have a lot of the features that you're really going to want. Now, most people would say I recommend start with the free, see if it works on your computer. But here's the best thing. They're already going to give you 14 days for free. If you just click right into that on any of these that you think that you're going to need, the pro tier is going to give you the 4K and the 48 kilohertz audio quality. It's going to give you all of the AI tools that you could really want. Now, you're already going to get live in the pro plan, but you could step over to the live actual upgrade, and that's going to give you 1080p live streaming versus just 720. It's also going to remove the watermark on your live streams. It's going to give you multi-streaming. Instead of just to one, you're going to be able to stream to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitch, all at the same time. If you've got a stream key, you can stream to TikTok. You can use custom RTMPs. It's going to give you the Omni chat so you can have all of your chats in the same place and click on them and highlight them on the screen so people can see. Then if you really want to get even deeper, they've got the webinar version, which you can go to that plan and create webinars. And if you're a business, this is a great option right here. You would need to speak with them and book a demo, and then they'll walk you through based on what your needs are. But quite honestly, for the majority of us out there, I would recommend the pro. I go with the live because in my opinion, the live is the best way to go. So what I'm going to do is we're going to jump over into the login process. So let me switch over to here. And when you get to the Riverside page after you've signed up, so you're going to have to log in. You can either put in your email address and make a password, or you can log in with Gmail or Apple or Spotify. Now, I've already got an account, but I want to show you from scratch. So I'm going to use a Gmail account, and we're going to go ahead and jump right in. So let me get all of that going for you here. Now, when you first get in, clean slate, it's going to open you up to where you can go through the 5-step process to launch your first video. You click on here, it's going to give you a welcome video where it's going to walk you through recording and uploading. You can walk through that entire process here. The next tab down, this is your home screen. And on your home screen, it's going to show you examples of all your AI tools. You can actually jump right into a recording here, jump into editing, go live directly from here. You can plan and schedule or invite somebody right from here also, where you can actually send an invite link with a planned out date in the future. So if you have a guest that you want to have on your podcast or your YouTube show or whatever you're doing, or you can click right in here and upload right into the software if you've already gotten a video that you want to bring in and take advantage of all of their AI tools. The next one down is going to be your projects. If you have any projects for your studio, this is where they're going to land. It's going to house all of your pre-edits, your current edits that you're working on, post-edits, different things like that. This is your scheduling tool, and you can create a new session, or if you did upgrade to the webinar plan, you can use the new webinar tool here. Now, if you notice, everything's a little small here. You can actually enlarge this and see everything so you know what you're looking at. I like to keep it small because I like to have all the real estate for when I'm working. They also have built-in hosting. You can host directly in Riverside. You never have to leave their platform. I run my entire podcast, this channel, and I help with other people's production of their podcasts and their channels all through a base M4 Mac Mini with 256 gigabytes of storage. I do have an external hard drive just for any of the B-roll or anything that I need from them. But quite honestly, you can do everything right inside of Riverside, never have to pull anything down. Now, you can export and do it in other softwares if you'd like your Premiere Pros and your DaVinci Resolves, but there's no reason to here with Riverside. Currently, at this moment, you can only host brand new podcasts. You can't bring over current podcasts that are being hosted on other software, but I do hear in the rumor mill that there is potential that they're going to be working on that. So stay tuned. Your next one down, you can invite somebody to your recording. If you do, here's the great thing. Your studio, this guest link is the same guest link that you'll always have. Once you send it to them, if you send it in an email or a calendar invite and you make it recurring, let's say it's your co-host, let's say it's somebody that does YouTube with you or whatever, you don't have to worry about generating a new link for them every time. This is your link for your studio. And the great thing is, I'm going to show you in a little bit, you don't have to worry about somebody popping in while you're recording or anything. You've got a waiting room. You have to let them in. You don't have to turn that on, but I recommend you turn it on. We'll talk about that when we get there. The next one down right here, this is your studio. This is where you will set up your entire studio, what camera you're going to be using, and all of that. Now, since this is my first time, I'm going to have to allow access to my camera, which is my CamLink 4K. And for my audio, I use the Shure MV7 Plus, and I'm going to go allow while visiting this site. Now, what you're going to see is this is backwards. Well, we're going to fix that here momentarily because we're not going to go into the studio just yet. What I want to do is I want to go back and I want to go down into the next things down. Right here, you'll see what's new, and they've released a lot of new things over the last month or two. And since I've been using them, this thing has changed so dramatically and so amazingly. I mean, literally, you never have to leave Riverside. But if you want to look at some of the new things that they've released recently, feel free to go right through here. This is your settings, and this is where you're going to set up your studio. So your profile name, your subscription, this is where you can do your upgrades, all of that good stuff. Notifications is just turning on notifications for your exports. Integrations, you can hook up to HubSpot or Salesforce if you're using this for business. Languages, make sure that you have your interface set to the language that you speak. Of course, I speak English, so we're set there. Now, here's the most important piece, and this is what you don't want to mess up on. So here's what we're going to walk through. So right now, this is just a test studio that I set up, so I'm going to leave it John Studio. Enable the lobby waiting room. Remember, enable that, because that link that you're going to give to your guests or your co-hosts or to anybody, that is the link for this studio, and it doesn't change. So enable that waiting room. And if somebody does try to come in and you're in a recording, you'll see down here, it'll tell you whoever it is trying to join your studio. Then you can let them in or you cannot. But I use the waiting room for is if I have a guest or somebody coming on and I'm setting things up and maybe I'm still getting ready for everything, I don't want to have them sit there staring at me. The waiting room's set for them to know, hey, the recording will be starting soon. Hang tight. John will let you in once he's ready. It's your studio. This is just like if you went to a radio station, your local radio station or your local TV station. They're not going to walk you right into the studio. They're going to send you to the green room and you're going to sit there and you're going to wait and you're going to be patient. People know this. Your guests know this. And if you think that they don't, you can prepare them ahead of time. Next, this is where you're going to customize your studio. We're going to skip this one just for a moment because it's going to take us into the studio, and I want to finish showing you the rest of this. So again, languages, make sure you're set to English. And then here, you can have studio reactions. So if you're live streaming and you're live streaming to Riverside, People can throw up emojis and smiley faces, and they'll come up on the screen without interrupting your flow, basically. So now let's look at recordings. In your recording screen, you're going to choose, am I recording video and audio or audio only? You might be doing just a podcast. Maybe you're not using this for YouTube. You're not using this for webinars. You're not using it for anything else. You just want an audio podcast. The great thing is you can click on audio only, and it's not going to use the resources for everything else. You don't need a camera. You don't need to worry about a blank screen. You're good there. I say here, we live in a world where YouTube is driving the podcast world. So even if you're using this specifically only for podcasts, I recommend record video and audio, upload to YouTube. When you upload to Spotify, they use video now. So you upload the video with the audio, they separate it, you're good to go. So just my recommendation, do what you want, video and audio. Now moving on to the audio levels control. This auto adjusts everyone's volume for clear, stable audio. Here's the thing. If you are a professional, you've been doing this for years, turn it off, feel free. I recommend you to always use headphones when you are recording with a guest. I don't have headphones on at the moment because I'm doing this solo, but you can listen for your volume controls and you can adjust them later. But here, I recommend when you're starting out, leave auto volume control on. It's going to use AI to keep everybody level. So if somebody screams or yells or talks low or whatever, it's going to do its best to put the audio levels. It's not going to compress them. It's not going to change anything. It's just going to play with the levels to keep them so your audience can hear them. Noise reduction. If you are in a loud building, if you're in a place where you're by a fan, if you got background noise, turn this on. Now, if you're in a studio with good acoustics and not a lot of background noise, my recommendation, leave it off. Here's why. It's going to compress your audio. If you want the best, clearest audio, my recommendation, leave this off. But if you're in a noisy environment, you got your kids running around, things are going on, you can definitely turn that on. And it will also do the same thing for your guests. So pick your poison. I say leave it off, but that's up to you. It is there. It does work. To me, I don't hear a difference, but I see people online all the time. Oh, I hear the difference. If you're wanting the clearest, richest audio, leave it off. Audio sample rate. If you're on the free plan, 44.1 kilohertz is all you're going to get. If you want the 48 kilohertz, which they do recommend when recording video and audio, you're going to need to be on the pro plan or higher. But I'm going to tell you right now, like I said, you're going to want at minimum the pro plan. I say the live plan. Just do the 14 days, try it out, make sure you love it. You're going to love it. And you're going to get the 48 kilohertz. No worries there. Now, here's where you come to next. Again, on the free plan, standard resolution is 720. You're going to have a watermark. If you want to record in 1080p or 4K, you're going to need the pro plan. If you want to live stream in 1080p, you're going to need the live plan. Again, I recommend the live plan. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but you're going to, unless you're never going to live stream, and maybe you won't, and you could upgrade later if you don't want to live, or if you want to live stream later. But I'm telling you, I did the live plan just because I want to have it when I need it. Simple. And you do the yearly, and you don't have to worry about any adjustments and all that fun stuff. Recording start. It's going to give you a countdown timer. It's great. Use it. You don't want to hit record and somebody just not be ready. It gives you a countdown timer, gives you a second to compose yourself and breathe. Automatically start recordings. You don't want to do this. It's there. It's a cool feature. I recommend when your guests get into the room, you have a welcome chat. You go over everything. You make sure that they're on, and we're going to go over this later, but you make sure that they're using the right headphones, the right microphone. They've selected everything. If they're on a mobile phone, that they're not horizontal, that they're not vertical, they're horizontal. Trust me, don't turn this on. They give it to you. Riverside gives you so many options. I'm just saying, leave this off. Pause uploads. Okay. Host and producer can pause uploads. It's on a beta, but here's why this is here. Let's say your guest has very spotty Wi-Fi. Riverside is uploading while you're recording, which is amazing. But if they've got terrible Wi-Fi, let's say you're live streaming, it could make the live stream video pretty grainy. Now, when you go to edit it later, it's going to come out beautiful because the high quality video is going to be up to the cloud. But they give you the option. So if you're live streaming, you could save that bandwidth and let the video upload post recording. We'll get into a little bit more of that later also. So let's go over to live streaming on that note. So here's where you're at. You've got YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter or X, Twitch, TikTok, custom RTMPs. If you have the ability, like if you've got enough subscribers for Facebook, if TikTok, if you have a stream key, you can literally every one of these, you can live stream at the exact same time. No restrictions. It's amazing. To me, I live stream where I need to. There's no reason to push it everywhere, but if you want to, the ability is there. It's amazing. Number 2, stream setup, streaming resolutions. Again, you can only stream at 720p on the free plan or the pro plan unless you go to the live plan to get to the 1080p. Your choice, but if you don't go to the live plan, you're going to have the watermark. Now, on the pro plan for the recording, you will not have the watermark. But while you're live streaming, you'll have the little Riverside watermark, which is fine. It just, some people are picky. That's up to you. I recommend go with the live stream or with the live plan. You're going to get 1080p crisp and it'll remove the watermark. Public chat. I recommend leaving this on. This is going to put everything together. You're going to be able to see all of the chat from all of your different sites that you are live streaming to. And you can go ahead and click on those and put them on the screen. It's just amazing. Audience info. You want your audience count. You'd like to know how many people are in, from where they're from, all that stuff. Leave that on. You can turn it off, but why? So now let's go back to the studio setup that we were talking about earlier. Let's go to general and let's go to customize the studio. When you first come in, like you saw earlier, I had to enable my camera and my mic. Make sure that you've got that. Now, that's through Chrome. Now, when you get in, you want to make sure you're on the right camera. What you want to also do is make sure that you've got the right mic selected. My Shure MV7 Plus is the one that I'm using. Your output speakers. Here's where it gets tricky. You're going to see a toggle that I'm going to show you in a little bit for a setting that I recommend you leave off. And even if you leave it off, if you miss this, it's going to turn it back on. You've got these two things here. I'm not using headphones. I'm using headphones. Guess what? Even if you're recording solo, like I am right now without headphones, I'm using headphones. Why? Because if you say I'm not using headphones, it's going to turn on echo cancellation. It's a great feature. Riverside puts it in, but now you're relying on AI to clean up your audio and remove that echo. Now, if you want the best audio, because this thing is recording in studio quality audio, and if you want that studio quality audio, I'm using headphones, even if you're recording solo, okay? You do not want echo cancellation on. Now, you can use echo cancellation if you have a guest that doesn't have earbuds, they don't have any way to have any way that they can hear in their ear, they're recording on their phone, whatever they're doing, feel free to use echo cancellation. It's there, it works. It's a good feature. It sounds pretty good to me, okay? But people complain, and if you want the true audio, I'm using headphones. You're going to get studio quality audio without all the compression. One more thing that I almost missed before we jump in. So for me, I help other people with their podcasts. I can join as a producer, which is not going to let me on their podcast. It's not going to record me. I can still talk to them. They can hear me, but the audience will never hear me. I can chat with them through the Omni chat that's built into the software. I can run everything for them, and all they have to do is sit there and talk. And then I do the edits, and then we go from there. Or you can join as the host. Okay. If you don't join as the producer, you will be the host. It's that pretty simple. So let's jump into the studio for the very first time as the host. Right now, this is going to look a little funky because I'm right down here and you're seeing me here. And there's two different things going on. But here's the power of having Riverside in the cloud. I'm recording through my Riverside. I have a second Riverside up right now that I could technically invite myself from my Riverside that I'm recording on to this account and pull both videos in and have three. I'm not going to do it. But the great thing is, as long as you have a good Mac or PC, Riverside is so amazing because it's all cloud-based. It is using your computer's resources for a few things, and it is using your bandwidth with your internet. But things being cloud-based, a lot of the processing is all being done in the cloud. So it's great. Also, the quality that you're seeing might be a little grainier than what you're seeing here. That's because when all of the high quality video and audio goes back and forth, when I go to edit it and then I process it and bring it back down, it's crystal clear. But during the recording, it's not sharp, but it's not terrible at all. And you can see. Moving on. Right here is where you can invite your very first guest. If I was talking to just one guest, you would see them and me here without inviting multiple guests. I won't be able to show you how I can change the layout for multiple guests, but currently, let me just show you if there was only two. Let me go ahead and pull up the layouts and I'll show you. I can be full screen, you and your guest in a grid that fills the screen, you off to the side and your guest here. This is great if your guest is sharing a screen or anything like that. This grid fit, if you want to see your entire studio and their entire studio. Let's say you are sharing a screen and you want to be in picture. If I had a guest, we would both be here. There would be a circle here or wherever I want to put us. We could be floated there, or we can be off to the side, which you'll see I'll do that all in the editing also, so we can walk through that on the editing side. Let's move on. So let's go back to here. Let's remove the invite section. So I'm just straight right here on the screen. Let's work our way left to right. Okay. So if you click here, it's going to take you back to your recordings and it'll leave the studio. We don't want to do that. Here's the name of your studio. I recommend before you ever hit record, whether it's for your podcast, for YouTube, webinar, whatever, I recommend give it a file name because we've all got computers full of 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, it's going to say Riverside and the date that you recorded it, but I recommend you give it a file name before you hit record. I'm not going to record while I'm in here to show you, but if I was going to record, I would name this something so that way you know what your podcast episode 1, or if you're doing a YouTube video on the iPhone 17 Pro, whatever you're doing, I would name it that. So we're just going to call this test video, okay? Now we move over here. If you were live streaming, this is where you would go in and click into live streaming. Now, I haven't started the free trial because I already have an account. But what you could do is you could go in and you could put in all of your account information and load all that in if you meet the credentials for live streaming on any of these. You could also go live on Riverside. Now, this link right here is the one you would send out to people that aren't going to be on the show. So it's kind of like a webinar, and you can do a webinar style without the webinar features. So if you want to build a webinar off of Riverside and screen share it through PowerPoint or Canva or Keynote or any of those, you can do that. So you can live stream right on Riverside and YouTube, wherever you want, all at the same time too. But that option is there for you. which is great. Everything's built right in. And when you click in here, this is where you would change your video quality. Of course, we can't go to 1080p, and you can't remove the watermark without upgrading, but it's all there for you. Let's go ahead and close this out. Here's your settings again that we were looking at earlier. Here is that noise reduction that we were talking about. Leave it off. If you want to turn it on, turn it on. If you need to, I recommend leaving it off. You're going to want to click into the settings here for the next set of features that we need to make sure are on or off. Again, follow these directions. I recommend it. I've been doing this for a long time. I know how to get the best quality out of Riverside. It is such an amazing software as long as you set it up correctly. So all settings, echo cancellation we talked about, okay? It's great. It's an amazing feature. It's there if you absolutely need it. Leave it off, please leave it off. But depending on what camera you're using, you might be backwards. See how I'm backwards right here and I'm the right way here? You cannot read Living 95 here because it's backwards. You can't read the cover of my debut novel because it's backwards. Here you can. Take your video screen, turn off mirrored. So you have that option to flip your screen back or forth, depending on the camera's needs. Your audio output, I recommend leaving it at max as long as you're not peaking. Now, I have the Shure MV7 Plus where I can adjust my settings inside of its software and inside of its mixer. So I'm not going to peak even when I'm max. But if you're using a cheaper microphone or something like that, you can adjust your outputs here. Now, this does not affect the output of the volume that got recorded, because you can play with that in post, which is great. This is just when you're live streaming or doing a webinar or something like that. Next, general, okay? Your studio name again, your lobby. You can do all of that same stuff that we did earlier in here with a few extra things. So your name, John. If I want to put my last name on there, I can. If I want to put my title, host of Health Tech and Wellness Podcast or whatever. Do I want to show my name and titles on the screen? I can turn that off if I want or have it on. The best thing also about Riverside, I know I'm loading you with a ton of stuff and you're going to see some edits. Even though I'm doing this very natural, I say okay a lot. Okay. So we're going to show you Riverside is great about cutting the fluff. So I really haven't been trying to mind my okays at all, because it's going to be great when you watch the next video on editing where I show you how to remove all of that fluff. Okay. Long story short, the great thing with Riverside, if you're using OBS, if you're using Ecamm Live, if you're using StreamYards, really any software to put your overlays in, they're going to be baked into your video. With Riverside, that name right there is not baked in. It's there for the live stream, but it's not baked in. And I'm going to show you a few other things that we can do later that still won't be baked in. They'll be on their own separate track or don't use them at all. So moving on, export notifications, leave those on. I like to show the names and titles, especially if you're doing with a guest, because it makes them feel special, important. Everything goes good. Makes you feel like, let me throw out a name that most people know, whether you like him or not, Howard Stern. Makes you feel very professional, okay? Now let's go into design. You can put in your logo up in the top of the screen, and you can set that up so it's always there. It's part of your brand, and it will be on every video, especially if you are like a podcast, or heck, if you watch vidIQ, you'll always see their logo in the bottom corner of the screen. That's what they're doing. It's baked into every video. You don't even have to think about it in post. But again, guess what? You put it in, doesn't have to be baked in. You can decide in post, I don't want it there. You don't have to worry. It's a great thing with Riverside. All of these things are just for the live. They'll be there if you want them in the post, but they're just for live. Now, next, when we go to design, it's going to take us over to our brand. Okay, so we're not going to click on that yet. I'm going to click on recording. Just make sure. I like to go through everything, even though you've done it out there. There's new things that are in here. Just make sure that you double check everything. Your video and audio recording versus your audio. Our auto volume controls are set. I like to leave those. Noise reduction, again, unless you're in a loud, noisy environment, I'd leave that off. Your sample rate, again, until you upgrade, you'll only get the 44.1 kilohertz. But again, I recommend, guys, just get the Pro. Start with the Pro. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Trust me. And if you don't, you got 14 days to find out you don't. Record to your heart's content for that 14 days and then decide, I don't want it. You're going to love it. Next, let's just make sure we got everything. Everything's good. Your countdown timer is all good there. We talked about live. So in your advanced features, you have your call quality, which is when you're live streaming with a guest. Again, your host or your producer can pause the uploads to handle that. You can do low data mode. It turns off everyone's live video to reduce lag. If someone has poor Wi-Fi, everyone's high quality video is still going to be recorded through the cloud. And this is for, let's say you're not doing it live. You're just doing a studio recording that you're going to do all post. You can put it on low data mode because you don't need it to go out over the Wi-Fi. You just need it to record off or on your device and their device. And then once you hit stop recording, everything will start to upload and you just sit, chit chat for a little bit, do some post talk. And by the time you're done saying your thank yous, everything will be uploaded. Raise hand gesture. I like this. If your guest has an important thing they want to say, or you've got multiple people on your show, they can kind of raise their hand. You can cut over to them. So you're not talking on top of each other. It makes your production look so much more crisp and clear. You're not going to see that on the screen. Studio reactions, we talked about that earlier. Audience info, I would have the count on all the time. So let's go ahead and jump out of there. Hopefully you've followed everything along. And let's start with people. This is where you and all of the people that are on your show will reside. What you want to do, echo cancellation. If you have a guest and they don't have headphones, I recommend create a pre-show PDF that you send them that says, hey, I recommend headphones. Hey, I recommend good lighting. Hey, sit, if you don't have lighting, sit facing a open window. All the things that most people would need to know before they come onto your show, let them know. But let's just say they don't have headphones. They can't get a set of cans. Now, for me, I don't like the look of cans when I'm on a actual live or when I'm with a guest. I went on Amazon and I purchased a set of in-ear monitors. I'm telling you, these things are amazing. They go in your ear. You can't even see them once they're there. And if I had the wire down my back of my shirt into my microphone, it's very discreet. You don't even know that I have headphones in, and I do. So I recommend headphones all the time. So your next one down is chat. This is where your Omni chat lives. This is where your chat for streaming to Riverside lives. This is where your chat for you and your producer, if you're using a producer, lives. And here's one of the best things in the world. I can go into, if I was live streaming, and let's say somebody made a comment, love the show. I can hit send. I can hit show on screen. And there it is. Now, if this was YouTube or anything, it's going to look a little better. It's going to have the YouTube symbol here. John Adams, love the show. And you can kind of let your people go, hey, wow, I like that. So just want to show you that since I was on this screen sharing it. So that's your chat feature. You can also use that in the studio chat. So right now on the free version, that's all you get is the studio chat. Your brand. So we were already talking about your logo. You can do brand colors. And, you know, it's just like any photo software, video software that you use. You got your sliders so you can change to the hues of the rainbow. And then you can move, you know, them where you want them. So let's say I want, you know, a dark red or a light red, boom, right there. You can add backgrounds. So let's say I want to upload a specific image and put it as a background, or they give you, just black standard. We're just going to leave it, black for now. And let's make this back to white just because I don't want a red lettering. So overlays, if you were live streaming, you could click on an overlay or add your own overlays. And the nice thing is they're not baked in. These are things that will only be on your live stream. In your fonts, you've got loads of fonts that you can choose from. And if you're on your business plan and you have a business font that you use for your logos, you can actually upload those right into Riverside. Also, you have your name styles. You can be a clean style name. You could do bold with the box behind. They call this edgy or fun. I like the clean design. And other than that, in your branding, we're good there. Now, your text. This is where some more overlays. So right now, let's say I wanted to put a link on the screen. I'm doing a webinar. The clickable links are only available if you are hosting on Riverside, but I can put an actual clickable link up here, or I can put the link here and people can read it. But if they're watching on Riverside, they could click on it. And here's the best part. See that? It goes away. You set a time. So I've got it set to 10 seconds right now. If I want to have, John's Studio pop up on the screen, I can do that. You can change, customize the colors and the scheme and what it says and all of that stuff. You can make even more if you want to make other lower thirds for, your guest websites or whatever there. And then you have a media board. Now here's what's really cool. You can use it just like a media board that you would have separate on your desk. Clapping, cheers. Okay, I don't need to go through them all, but let's say you want to do the Riverside mobile app. Now you can throw up other things. This is just a video they put up here for you. So I can throw that in, brings it onto the screen, which is a great lead in to Riverside has a mobile app that any other studio that you're going to go with doesn't have. So it makes it really nice because I can invite guests that only have a smartphone, or like for my health tech and wellness podcast channel, I do morning motivational videos every morning, Monday through Friday, and I use the mobile app for that. There's just a lot of nice, cool features. You can do all your editing and on there. You can't get as detailed as the editor that's on the desktop, but it's such a cool feature that they give you for free. And it's just amazing. But you can put anything you want into the media board, upload what you would like to upload. Like here's their intro, just to give you an example. Let me put it to live, which is just audio playing in the background. If you want to play music, now you want to do royalty-free music, which this is already because it's Riverside. There's all kinds of things that you can do with the media board here. There's all kinds of things you can do with the media board. So that's the media board right there. You can have it in the nice buttons like you would a standard media board on your desk, or you can have them in words so you know what you're clicking right there. However you'd like to run the media board, that is the media board. Now you can do backgrounds. So let's say your guest doesn't have a great background. Now my background is kind of busy behind me, so putting the backgrounds over it isn't the best. And the reason why it looks like it's going a little slow is I'm running my recording on one Riverside while I'm doing this, just so you know. But anyway, you can put virtual backgrounds behind yourself without a green screen. They're not the best, but if you don't have a green screen and you've got a very bad cluttered background, this looks halfway decent, okay? The other thing, which is really cool, now you've got to be on the Pro or better. You can do a minor blur or a full blur of your background. I'm going to be honest, if you got a background like mine that's really busy, use the blurs because they're going to look so much cleaner. But if you've got a solid background, these things look amazing. I've used my laptop in my dining room area where I've got a white wall behind me, and these backgrounds, look absolutely amazing. My hat's not all cut off and all of that stuff. So that's your media board and your backgrounds. Let's talk about your bottom controls here. We'll skip the record button just for the moment. Your mic, you can now, this is all before recording. Once you start the recording, you're kind of stuck. So make sure this is all right for you and your guests before you start. So just like up here in the people tab where you have all of your options for this stuff, you definitely want to, you got your options here. You can also do them down here. You've got your mic, make sure your camera's right, your speaker, make sure that you're on it. I would say that I'm using the microphone coming out of my Shure in the back. So that way I'm not getting any feedback whatsoever. Reactions, this is for your live reactions, for if you've got guests or if you've got people that are watching you on the Riverside streaming, they can use the live reactions also while they're watching you. You can change your layouts. Now, the great thing with these layouts is they're all hotkeyed. So you've probably heard you can't use the Elgato Stream Deck with Riverside. Technically, no, they don't have built-in features, but anything and everything that is available with a hotkey in Riverside, you can program using the hotkey kind of setup on your Stream Deck, and you can switch your scenes on the fly. Now, mind you, I don't have other people on with me or nothing on the stage, but if I did, you can change these on the fly, which is pretty awesome, by the way. Your script button here, you can use a script on the free version. Now, what the script is for, this is not a teleprompter. It's not going to scroll, but if you want to put some kind of script up here, you can definitely do that. If you're on the Pro or above, the host can have a script over their screen that you can set to scroll as they're talking. If you want to use a script, if you're using an Elgato teleprompter like I have, you can move it over there. I primarily use my Elgato teleprompter so I can move my screen to my teleprompter so I can see my guest. So I move my guest screen so I can see them and we're looking eye to eye. And I will put notes up there, but either way, you have the script function available and teleprompter if you're on the Pro and above. So last on the list here, before we get to record, is the leave button. This is very important because as you're recording, you're going to see up here on the top of the screen, it's going to say uploading and a percentage. And your guest is also going to see uploading and a percentage. If you hit end session for all or leave studio while you're uploading, there is a chance you could lose everything, or at least what wasn't uploaded. So don't do that. Chances are they can just go back. There'll be a little warning, say, oh, don't leave, but prepare your guest. Hey, when we're done recording, I'm going to let you know when I stop recording. When I say bye to everybody, do not just leave. I want to thank you, and we want to talk a little bit afterwards and give it time to upload. And prepare yourself a post-recording chat. Don't make your guests sit there and stare at you. Treat them nice. Thank them for being there. They came on and they took their time to be on your show. Use that time that this is uploading to make your guest feel warm and fuzzy before they leave. Then, and only then, once it is uploaded, say bye to your guest. Let them end their session first, and then in session for all or leave studio. You can hit in session for all and it'll just kick them out. If they can't figure out how to leave, you can do that. You've got a guest that decided to come on your show and give you your time. That's professionalism. So guys, I hope you got something out of that walkthrough. I tried to do it as dumbed down as I could. I probably sounded very stupid, but guess what? I wish that I watched a video like that when I first started, because I was so dumbfounded. I was lost. I had no clue what to do. If you like this format, if you like me looking stupid and fumbling around, not scripting anything out, let me know. I like this because it helps to show you the way that I learned and the way that I wish that I could find a video. I might redo these courses if I get a bunch of feedback that says, wow, that's terrible. But right now, I wanted to do these courses the way that I wish people would have went through it for me. So if you haven't watched the why video of why I use Riverside, click right here, watch the very first video in the course, and you'll see the power of Riverside and what you can do with it. You'll also get to meet my counterpart, Max, who is the internet troll. He's the guy that's we all hear in our head while we're starting this process out. And I made sure to put him in there and right inside the Riverside editor. So, and then when you're ready to watch the edit video, and you'll see me take out all the ums and the ands and all the things that I fumble around with. That video is going to be right here. So click on that video to watch the next one. And again, if you got something out of this and you enjoyed it, I would love it if you just hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get all of these courses as I drop new courses. I'm going to do deep dives. By the way, I think you're going to love them all. And if you didn't, leave me a comment. If you loved it, leave me a comment. I greatly appreciate it. So I'm going to end this like I do all of my health and wellness videos because I think we all need this. As always, stay healthy, stay balanced, and keep driving forward. I'll see you next time.